Hello, I'm secretly going live before Ula is ready. He is up on the left finding the stuff he usually has for our intro. We are live already, Ula. Okay. And I thought we could just listen to the bird singing from his angle there. As you can see, he's going to sit outside today. Oh, here he is.
It's time! Treasure hunting in the sharky waters of the World Wide Web with Queen Ray. And I'm your host, Captain Olavia. Today we're going to
fork my new Outseta React Supabase Starter.
all right.
To create a voting system for the next starter apps. So it's super meta. So I created
is my why, what, and how mirrored now?
I can see it. It's good. It's good. So
is
what?
It mirrored?
No, it's not mirrored. It's perfect. So what? We are going to create a voting system for the next tech stack that I'm going to focus on for our Outseta starters. And and then why? Because we've been getting a lot of questions from Outseta customers how to use Outseta with different backends and different data storages and different technologies. And one thing is explaining it, another is having ready-made starters that they can either clone or at least look at to kind of get a real feel for how you can do these things. And how we're just going to start by cloning the one that I made.
Yes.
So I'm going to pop you over on the other screen and move me over there so it looks like I'm looking at everyone. It's been a while. I'm actually very nervous.
Well, I'm not.
Well, you're not the one coding.
I'm not going to do anything.
Well, you're here supporting me and helping me out when things get hard.
Did you hear me typing just then?
No, it was good actually. Ninja typing. Okay, so the app that we're cloning and making. So to back up a little bit, this is the starter I've created. I'm going to say demo app and starter because I'm confusing myself, but I think we're going to land on starter as the word. So I've created feedback port, which is a feedback system where you could submit feedback and then you can vote on feedback. And as you can see, like I'm not allowed to submit any feedback because I'm not logged in. I'm not allowed to vote either, but I can see everything. And this is kind of cool because if you already have something set up with Outseta, you can just reuse your Outseta account and let your paying customers and only your paying customers be allowed to, or your existing customers to, to give feedback. But in our feedback port example, you can actually also sign up. But I'm just going to log in with my test account.
Yes.
And then when you've logged in, and hopefully it's work. No, it doesn't work now. Of course it doesn't work because we're live on stream. Okay. That was a bummer.
Right? This is the unforked one.
No, yeah, so this is the demo that's actually live now. So why it's not working?
It's doing something. Oh no.
Yes, it failed to fetch. So maybe we just need to debug the starter that I've already created. Let's see. Yeah, so it's Aaron exchanging the token, and I thought that was working, but so we'll have to use our local one. But at least then you're supposed to be able to submit a feedback and then vote on feedback. So this is what we're kind of making, the exact same thing. So I can log out so we can like see it again. So we're going to make the exact same thing, but what we're going to be asking for is like which tech stack should we make the next feedback port starter in. So as you can see, I made this like pretty nice design choice up here where you can like add the different stacks underneath. So we're just going to call this feedback for tech stacks instead. And what I've done so far is that I headed over to the Outseta Supabase React feedback for, and I cloned it. So I have my clone here. And then I've gone into my editor and gotten the project from GitHub. So I used the code and then copy command, and I just did this. So that's what I've done so far. So this is kind of also a user test of my README on how you can clone and set this up. And then obviously it looks like it's also a little bit of a quality assurance since we had an issue here in the live one. So, okay, let's get started. So this is the first time I'm live coding with cursor. So that's going to be a new experience. Let's see how that goes. So we start here with a quick start. That's going to be cozy. So prerequisites is that you need an Outseta account set up with at least one plan and one email list. But I'll show you a little trick of how to kind of just make that a free plan so anybody can sign up like we've done in feedback for. And then you need a Supabase account and project setup. And we'll be referencing, as I said, the Outseta and Supabase admin panels throughout this guide. So if we look at the rendered version here, I've created 2 screenshots because we're going to be asking the user to do a lot of things from these 2 menus. And Ola did a quick test, and it was kind of hard to understand that these are the main menus. So I added these images after.
That wasn't the problem. The problem was finding things.
Okay.
So
but at least now we have the starting
point.
Point
to the setting.
There.
I didn't find that.
And there. Yeah.
But now at least we have settings on mine. It was just a little wheel, I think, or maybe not. I didn't find it.
Yes.
At least.
Supabase, it's only a little wheel, but I've hovered over it here so it actually shows up. But I hope hopefully this will help people get started a little bit easier. So that's that step. Let's follow this rendered version. It's a little bit nicer than this this code version. So we'll need to do an npm install. So let's do that.
Yes.
And then we'll need to copy the env example file to env local. So then we can do that. So now we should have gotten an env local file here that is not part of our that's not part of our Git repository. It will not be synced up to GitHub. So this is where we can store all our secrets. And then all of the boring stuff. So edit the env local file and set the following variables for the app to work. So first we'll need our Outseta domain. So if we head on over to Outseta, our Outseta domain is this part. You can also go to settings, general, and you have your Outseta URL here.
Oh yeah, that's the one I didn't find. The setting. I didn't find the setting.
And then it's let's go back. So I'm just like gonna rush. I'm trying to rush through it, but let's follow the documentation because for new people's coming to this, they're gonna need the to follow that the README. So we have Vite Outseta newsletter ID, and that is if you want this subscribe to newsletter that I have in the bottom here. If you want to have that, we'll need to have a newsletter ID. So that's going to be email list your email. So email list, and then you have to choose your email list. And then up here is our ID. There's going to be a button here to copy it soon, but right now you'll need to get the ID from the URL. So let's put that in there. And then we have Vite Outseta pre-selected plan UID. So if we go back to feedback for, if you're going to sign up, it's only asking you for an email, and then you're finished with the whole sign up. Usually with Outseta, you have one page where you choose the plan you want to sign up for. Then you have one page for like name and email and credit card and like kind of getting all of those details. And then you have a checkout page. But for this demo, we just have a free plan, and then we pre-select that plan so that the user doesn't have to choose anything. So if we head back to Outseta, well, let's look at our doc. It's project set. No, it's Oh, I didn't have that. I didn't have that in my documentation. This is a good find. So Ola, you can note that down. we need to add the pre-select. So I only had it in here, so we'll pop it in here. And then we need the Vite Supabase URL, your Supabase project URL, and we'll have to head to project settings, data API, project URL. So that's setting, and then what did I say? Setting, data, project settings, and then data API.
Yeah.
And this is our project URL. And then we are going to need our Vite Supabase anon key, and that stands for anonymous. So this key is used when we're getting data from Supabase when nobody is logged in. So when we're doing a call here to get all of this feedback that we have configured to be public data, we have to use the anon key, which then stands for anonymous, but nobody can spell anonymous. So usually in these kinds of scenarios, you use the shortcut anon for anonymous, and then auth for authenticated. So that's what that is for. So it's in the Supabase admin panel under project settings, data API, project API keys. So we were already there. So it's this one, project API keys, copy. And then these two are optional, and this is only if you're running Supabase locally with Docker. We're not going to cover that in this stream. So we're not going to do anything with those. Let's get back to our data here. And then you can configure Supabase. You have two options. These need to be on two lines. So you have two options. You can use the Supabase admin panel to configure the project, or you can use the Supabase CLI to configure the project. I'll show you where to find things in the Supabase admin panel, but I think we'll just use the CLI to actually do it. So I'll kind of show you both. But I made a change from when you were testing, Ola, is that there is like one instructions for the one thing and then second instructing for the other way of doing it, so they're not like muddled together. So hopefully is that is more easy. But note down that these need to be on two lines. Okay, so if we're going to use the Supabase admin panel to configure the project, then you head on into the admin panel and you navigate to SQL editor. And that's this one. So there's even a third way, like you could go to the table editor, you could create a new table, you can create every column. But since this is a starter, I've kind of built out all of that for us, and then it's easier to use the data to the SQL editor. So it says, head on over to the SQL editor, and then copy paste the contents of each file in the Supabase migrations folder. So let's have a good look at the Supabase migrations folder. And I guess maybe this isn't big enough for us today. Okay, there we go. So what it will do is that it will create a feedback table. And then it will create all of the policies that is needed for that feedback table. Oh, we should look at my... So I created a nice article on this. So demo app and introduction.
Ooh.
So this is kind of the data structure that we're looking for. So with Outseta, it's much easier if you don't dupe, or with any kind of auth system, it's much less complex if you don't duplicate all of the account and user data in your own database. So for feedback fork, we're going to let all of the data about the person and the account be in Outseta, but then a person can place a vote and a person can submit feedback, and then feedback has votes. And for access, it's like, okay, anybody should be able to see all feedback in the way that we've set it up, but you could decide to make a feedback system where only the logged in users can see the feedback if you kind of want more of a private feedback system for only your customers or users. But in our case, we're going to set it up so that feedback items are public, anybody can see them, but only the person that submitted the feedback can change it or delete it. And then with a vote, to be able to count all the votes have to be public, to be able to be part of that public information that we see before you log in. But then only the person who submitted the vote or place the vote, as I called it here, place the vote, is allowed to delete it. So that's kind of the structure we want. And if we look at our files here, so they look super scary if you haven't done anything with databases before. But after we've done this, we can go and look at all of these tables inside of Supabase. And inside of Supabase, it kind of like you have a visual version of all of these rules and all of this setup. So we're going to create a feedback table, and then we're going to enable row level security. This is super, super duper important. I've seen a lot of vibe coded projects and kind of, yeah, I've seen a lot of, especially vibe coded projects, but also other projects that find row level security so hard and that they just kind of skip it. Or been told to just skip it and use the service role instead. And as you can see here, it's even like blocked out inside of our UI here because it's so secret. And it says here the key has the ability to bypass row level security, never share it publicly. If leaked, generate a new JWT secret immediately. So what the service role key does is that you're allowed to do essentially whatever you want to your data. And what happens when I come over one of these vibe coded projects, if I just look in the network tab, I can see the request going out. I can see the service key there in plain text. I can copy it, and I can essentially go in and delete like not just the data, but I can delete the tables, and like I can delete all of their data. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. So you have to turn on row level security. And this is a way for us with Supabase to kind of chat with the database straight from our client code. You don't have to create any kind of like API layer when you do row level security, because you're kind of configuring the security right on the database items or rows. So let's go back to the code. Maybe it makes more sense. So we say here that anyone can view all feedback by saying that select is always true. But then users can create feedback. So insert is only allowed if this check passes. So if the user is logged in so that it has an a JWT or JOT, I've learned that they call it, the auth people. So if there is a JOT available with a request and the sub value is the same as the Outseta person UID, then you're allowed to insert.
So this is a row then?
Yes. So for each row, it's actually setting the Outseta person.
Mark out the row.
What did you say?
Mark the row, like highlight it with your thing. What is the row?
Can. Yes. No. So
That's
this
the
isn't.
row.
So that is
That's
the policy for. No, it's not. It's the policy for the rows.
Where does it reference the row?
It's reference it because it is a row level security rule. This rule will be checked towards on every row insert. So every time we insert a row into the table, it will do this check.
Okay.
And it will say that the sub should be equals Outseta person UID. But this feels wrong.
When I want to put feedback on somebody's, when I want to vote basically on somebody's, or if I want to make something people can vote on, they also check it.
It's one of these cards.
Yeah, when I want to make a card, they check me, and I get my own row with my card. And when I vote, I also get my own row.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And then users can update their feedback. So if it's the same user, so if the value of Outseta person UID is the same as the sub from the JOT, then you're allowed to update it, and then it has to be the same UID after the update. So I think using is allowing you to do something, and then the check is checking if the data is correct. And I think if there is no using, it uses the check. Like I am not. I'm not a specialist at this yet. But so then for votes,
here are the votes.
It's the same things. You have, so like if we go back here, I guess if we forgot to go through that. So there's a ID for the feedback. It's a created ad timestamp. There's a description. There's a status. There's a title, and then there's an Outseta person UID. So this is a reference to the person who's submitted this feedback. And we, instead of sending that in, we are grabbing it from the JOT. So we are saying when a request comes in to do anything really, or to create a new one, I guess, then the default is to get the person UID from the sub value of the JOT. And then back down here, we say, okay, it has to be the Outseta person UID has to be the same as the sub from the JOT. And if you're going to update, again, the Outseta person UID has to be the same as the sub value from the JOT. Now it made sense also in my head. And then deleted at is a timestamp from when it was deleted. So to make this app more real, I decided to do what we call soft deletes. So we're not going to delete the row. We're just going to give it a timestamp of when it was deleted. And this kind of complicates things a little bit, but that makes the whole project a little bit more real than just kind of deleting it from the, you could just delete a row, but that is much simpler. And I wanted to kind of challenge ourselves a little bit with this starter. So it's not like skirting past all of the edge cases and all of the like harder parts. So then we have the vote. So for a vote, you have an ID for the vote. So it's a default generate random UID. We don't set that. We have a created at timestamp, which is also default the current timestamp. And then we have a feedback UID, which references the UID of the feedback. So this is a vote on a feedback that has this UID. Then it references the person UID, Outseta person UID of the person submitting this vote, placing this vote. And it will then default to the sub value of the request JOT. And then we have a deleted at timestamp. So same thing here, we do a soft delete. And then we are adding all these row level security rules. So you can view all active votes. So if deleted at is null, anyone can see the vote. So that is to get the summary here of the votes. So these are like, you know, if a vote is deleted, it is not counted anymore. So we don't need everyone to be able to see the deleted votes. But then we have to say that the Outseta, if a person is logged in, so if there is a JOT there with a sub value, then you can also see everyone. So either you're seeing all of the active votes, or you're seeing all of your votes, or both of them. So it's like if deleted as is null. So if I'm logged in, I see all of the active votes and all of my own votes. If I'm not logged in, I only see the active votes. And why this is important is because I wasn't allowed to update these votes with a soft delete these votes if I couldn't see both of the active and the soft deleted votes. And it took me down one of the longest rabbit holes in recent history for me, and I ended up writing a blog post on it. So if you want to dig into that, it's up. It's on my blog, and it's called "Update Requires Select Row Level Permission in Postgres/Supabase." So it means to be able to update something in Postgres, which is the database kind of powering Supabase. If you're going to be allowed to update, you must also be allowed to select, and you must be able to select it both before and after the update. And what was happening in our case is that when we did the deleted at, we set a timestamp for the deleted at, it became inactive. So when I didn't allow you to select inactive votes, then it all failed, and I spent hours and hours and hours trying to figure out why that wasn't working. So go read that if you want to learn more. And then we have this kind of same as for the feedback. Users can create votes, but they can only create a vote if they haven't created a vote and if they don't have an active vote for that feedback already. So we're saying that, you know, you have to be logged in. So you're the set of person UID that we're setting by default up here has to be the same as the JOT sub. Yeah, here. And then we're saying that if you select one active vote with the same feedback UID and the same person UID, and that exists, then you're not allowed to vote again. And then we're saying that users can update their vote. And I've added these comments here for delete because I don't want anyone to be allowed to delete, but Claude or Cursor AI was just kept on adding delete policies. So
Yeah.
instead of me removing the delete policies, I commented them out so that the AI wouldn't like keep adding them back in. And then And then we also add a unique constraint to prevent multiple active votes from the same user. So we're kind of redoing this up here, but this was suggested to me by AI, so and it makes sense. So I kept that in there. Howdy, Inessa is here.
What?
Did Inessa have a voice?
What do you mean? Put up his
John had a voice.
comment.
Inessa had no. John had a vote. Did
I
Inessa
can't.
have a vote?
Ah, howdy, howdy. I can't see the chat here now because I'm just a guest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's sitting outside, but good to see you, Inessa.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess we could have probably maybe looked. Well, this is a starter though, because these things didn't just come out of nowhere. Like I was building the code and then building the data structure, but let's go through them all. And then we've created what's called a view. So this is not a table you can insert and delete and update from, but it's like it's a view into your data. And this is just to make our kind of data fetching much easier in our code. So if we head on over to our code, data. So instead of having to do a lot of calculations in the front end, we want to be able to get all of this data in one go. So we want to get the feedbacks and then the count and all of that in one go. So we created this view called active feedback with votes so that we can just, query for all of that data in one go. This all depends on your future applications, if it makes sense to kind of combine the data like on the back end or in the front end, or it depends. But for our use case here, it's really nice to just get that done on the database layer. So we're creating a active feedback with votes where we take every feedback row and then we add a count of all of the active votes to it. And then we or upvotes, I call them upvotes. So all of the active active votes is added to kind of this view row as upvotes. And then we are also setting a true or false here if this user has voted for this particular feature or not. So if the user is logged in, we kind of get this like convenience method here so that we can like make a little active circle around the thumbs up showing them that yes, this is the one that you voted for. So these are all of our data, like these are all of our data structures. And then we also have, which is super convenient, like if you want to get up and running and play around, we have created a seed here. And seed, we call it seeding a database. So if you want to have data in the database as soon as you kind of get the project up running, or if it should always be there, I think we call it seeding. So we're like seeding little flowers or something, that we're seeding rows into the database. So we're creating these feedbacks, and then we're just creating some fake votes. Like these are not Outseta user ID, so we're just creating some fake votes. And then we also created some fake soft delete votes just to demonstrate the soft delete functionality in here. And then let's go back to our starter. So it says copy paste the contents of each file into the Supabase migrations folder. So if we go here, you would go, okay, you want to start with the top one and you copy paste all of it and you click run. And then you do the next one and you click run. And then you do the next one and you click run. And then you do your seed file and then you click run and you will have a beautiful database. But since we have Supabase, we have the Supabase CLI installed, we can do, as we say in this starter, we can do Supabase. Oh, this is not correct. This is for local. This is not correct. So let's do it the manual way then. Note this down,
Right.
Ola. This is the local. Not good, Benedicta. See, this is why we user test things. When we can't user test on other people, we can user test on ourselves. So,
Yes.
okay. So we'll do run. And then if we head on over to our table editor, we can kind of see it build up slowly. Or not this one, database. It has like this beautiful drawing. So see, now we have a feedback table. Everyone see that?
Yes.
Cool. And then we run the vote thing, or the vote SQL. And then we do run. Then we should get a vote.
Now you're doing it inside SQL and not in your code.
Yeah, so you could run SQL toward Postgres in like multiple different ways, but what is nice with Supabase is that they have this SQL editor in here, so you can do SQL queries straight on your the underlying Postgres database, or you could like build it out manually with the table editor. But since we have this starter, we can like get up and running pretty fast. So look at that. Now we have a vote and we have a feedback, and I don't know how new this is in Supabase, but look at that. It even has like this little like nice like connection here where it says that, oh, feedback UID is connected to the feedback UID here. So you can build out this really nice thing here. Okay, so and then we do our view. And what is fun with the view is that is even visible in Supabase. I don't think that's that common in these like visual editors. So it's not visible here in like the schema visualizer. But if you go on into the actual database, so I guess I never really know where the actual data is. No, so if we go to tables, at least we can now see the active feedback with vote. I guess if we go there, no. Where is the data? Okay, so here's where we'll get our data. In the table editor is where we get our data. So we could start making a lot of manual data in here, but this is where our seed comes in handy.
We haven't
So
seeded yet.
No. So we'll do our seed, run.
And that's inside Supabase again.
Yeah, that's inside this table editor. And we do a refresh. Look at that. Look at all our data.
Hey, there it is. What's this then?
And this is the view. So you can also see the view. So you can see this, and you can see it has only an eye. So these are our tables, and this is our view onto like which looks exactly like a table, but I don't think we can like edit things straight in the view. So you can even see here the upvotes and all of that. User vote ID. I don't know what that is. That shouldn't be there. Anyway. Okay. So now we have all our data, and we also can see that we have our auth policies. So if we go to auth here, we can disable row level security. They don't do that. Then everybody has access. But so when I was debugging my issue, right, I wanted to know, is it that my query is wrong, or is it that, the security policies are actually wrong? So it could be nice to disable it while you're in development, but you don't want to be disabling this in production. So we can head on over and we could actually see here then, okay, this is the one that we called anyone can view feedback. So if we head on back here, this policy, anyone can view all feedback. And you can see here, it's like a little bit not of a nicer kind of UI for looking at these policies here in the Supabase UI. And you can even get these like templates if you're doing this from the ground up. I think it even has like some AI that could help you create the correct policies and stuff like that. So the policies, the row level security policies, it's a Postgres thing. It's not a Supabase thing, because Postgres is powering Supabase. And as I said, like I see a lot of people struggling with these policies. I struggled with them for a long time. I still struggle with them to get them, to get it correct, because you have to think in a different way than when you're making your own AI endpoints, because then you can just query all kinds of data and you filter out so that only the data the user should see is seen. But in a row level security kind of way, if we go back to our database here, if you make feedback available to public, they get access to all of these columns. So let's say we had if we had something on, like if we wanted the user to be able to add some kind of private comment onto the feedback. Let's say we had the public description that anybody could see, and then we had like a private description that only the admins of the whole thing should see, or only logged in people should see. It can't be in the same table. You would have to create kind of like a main feedback table, and then a feedback public table, and a feedback private table, so that you could have different row level security on all.
Hello!
Oh,
He's sitting on my keyboard.
hello!
Se, Smitty, du må se her. Å, jeg dytter hodet ditt. Nei, hun vil ikke. She doesn't want her face to be on TV, only the back. Ja, du er kjendis. Ja.
Okay.
You can almost see
I heard you do some kind of psst, psst.
Yes.
What are you drinking today?
This is Living La Vida Loca from Sweden. It's water, It is total water with bubbles.
But this reminds me, we're streaming in the afternoon, which means I could actually go get one of my little Proseccos.
Yes, you can.
I'm going to do that towards the end of this, because, oh my God, we're 4:15 and I haven't even done NPM dev. So,
but we got a comment here from Inesa. I will read it. I'm doing great, Ora. Enjoying the warm summer finally. Yeah, I asked him how he was doing in Canada.
Same thing here, Inesa, because we've had the most weird weather of any spring. It was like super duper spring in April, and then suddenly it was winter again, and then we had a little bit of spring, and then it's been super cold for a long time, and then luckily it looks like this week is going to be perfect, because on Saturday is our national day, and Lillian and I will be walking in the children's parade as we did last year. She's in the marching band. She will not play this year, but she's going to walk behind the marching band, and I'm going to be one of the attendees, or whatever it's called. I'm going to walk there and protect the kids. I don't know, help the kids. And I'm really happy about that, because adults aren't allowed in this. Adults aren't allowed in the parade. It's a children's parade, and I've been wanting to go since my school days. And last year I was finally able to walk again, because Lillian is in the marching band.
Yes.
So yay me, and yay Lillian.
Lillian has been looking forward to it for weeks.
Yes, she's so excited. Because on 17th of May, which is our national day, children are allowed to eat as many ice creams as they want. So it's the highlight of the year. It's kind of like, we call it our country's birthday. Anyway, so we actually followed this one. Use Supabase admin panel to configure the project. And that actually worked without a hitch. So.
Ooh, yeah.
Yay.
Supabase
yay.
You like Supabase.
Yes.
And it's a great song they made too. They made that song. Boom, 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 boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom. I don't know if they made it, but anyway. So, if all things, we also have to deploy the Supabase function. So we've done the create Supabase tables seed. So if we go back to our admin, or my article here. It's what you need, blah, 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 connecting the two systems. So we need a way. So the row level security is something that Supabase controls. And
Yeah.
they have their own auth system. So there are ways, if you're using the Supabase auth system, you would never see, let me see here. Yes, no, let's do one of the restricting ones. Okay, so if you were using the Supabase auth system, you wouldn't usually see the auth and then dot or JWT. You would just be accessing the auth object, and there would be an ID on that, and there would be data on that and roles on that that is coming from the Supabase auth system. But since we are using Outseta for authentication, we are kind of using the raw JOT. But Supabase don't allow auths, don't allow JOTs from
Yeah, go back. Go back.
JOTs that are signed by other systems. So we need to kind of grab all of the information that's in an Outseta JOT, and then we need to create a new JOT with the same information signed with the Supabase JOT secret. So we're not going to go a lot into signing of JOTs here, but we can't. I think for like some third-party auth systems that are kind of like integrated into Supabase, you could use those, but ours is not. So then we have to kind of like do this little sideways step, and I think I have a diagram for that.
She beat me. She
no!
beat me. Yes.
Well, she is a little,
I can't take the Inesa comment away.
Oh, I'll have to do that then.
It says join the chat. Do you think I can do that? Connect to comment. Ooh.
I thought I had a really nice diagram for this. I need to create this diagram, but I at least explained it here. So we need to, the user authenticates with Outseta and receives an Outseta JOT. And then the application changes this token for a Supabase JOT using a Supabase edge function. So the unpacking, like the verifying and unpacking of the Outseta JOT, and then the re-signing of that JOT has to be done on a server. This is not something we can do in a client. This is on the server with like super secret stuff. So we are now responsible for actually verifying that the Outseta JOT is correct and valid and authorized and all of those things. Then we can grab that information and we can re-sign it with the Supabase key. So we have then code for that. So if we go back to our instructions here, it says within the Supabase admin panel, head on over to edge functions, deploy a new function. So we'll go here, we'll find edge functions, deploy a new function via editor. And then we'll go to our code. We'll take this index file here. We'll copy paste that. So if you have a look here, what we're doing is that we get the auth signed JWT from our JOT from the authorization header. And then we are verifying it with the so there's something called the well-known, or like JOT key, like JW key, it's keys standing for keys. So you get the public and private keys. And there's like this standard that they should be available, but at dot well-known. So we'll use your Outseta domain and then the well-known path to kind of get the information we need to verify this token. And it's very important here that you get this data, like the URL for those well-known keys, like from environment variables. You can't get that data from the JOT because people could fudge the JOT and ask you to find the keys somewhere else. So you can kind of grab that. So even though that like that Outseta domain technically is in the JOT, we can't use that as our source of truth for where these keys are. So we always have to get this from our secrets. So let's go back to our instructions. You need to give the name exchange. So then we deploy the function. And then it says that we have to disable enforce JOT verification. So for this, only this function, we need to disable JOT verification, because what it would do is that it would it would like dismiss it as soon as it sees that it's not a Supabase JOT. So we need to allow like any type of request into, like, we need to allow any kind of request into our function code, and then we are responsible for creating that verification and re-signing and blah 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 and sending that back. Whew.
Sounds like something we can do with Galleon instead.
That is true. Our new possible product. Let's talk about that in a little while, because what I've remembered now is that I just skipped a whole part here. Add the following secrets in the Supabase admin under edge function secrets for the Supabase function to work. So we need the Outseta domain. So we already put that into our local file. So we'll use the same one in our edge function secrets. Ooh. And I guess I forgot what to call them in our, no, I've written that in Outseta domain. And then we need to have the Supabase JOT secret in there. And you would think that was available, but it's not. And you're not allowed to call any of the key Supabase. So we'll call it Supa. And then we're going to grab it from the project setting data API JOT settings. So if you go to project settings, data API, and then here, the secret. So I'm going to reveal it now, and then I'm going to roll it after the stream. So this won't be available for you guys to hack me after the stream. Okay, so save. Okay, so now those have been added here. Great. Because then supposedly we're going to be able to run npm run dev, and this should work. But we did have a problem in production, so maybe we'll have to debug that. Oh my God, it is working. Well, let's log in and see if it's working. I forgot to say that in data, so the way we do, so we talked about how we do the token exchange on the back end, and we're not going into detail. We were just copying the function that I have created. So that's the great thing about a starter. You can just copy what I've created, and you don't have to figure these things out from scratch. But then also you'll have to do something in the front end. Because we're using the Supabase client in the front end, and we need to retrieve the Outseta token here, and then we need to do that exchange with that edge function. And then I also cache the results so it doesn't happen all the time. And the way to do this has changed. So I have an older example, and where you were setting manually setting authorization headers and stuff like that. But in the newest version of Supabase, it actually has, when you're creating a client, you can actually tell it where to grab that excess token from. So there's a token coming in here, which is like, I guess in this case it would be the Supabase anon key. If you were logged in as a Supabase user, it would be the Supabase token. We could actually remove this in our code, but then we'll need to grab. So we either grab the Outseta token. So this will actually be called. So this isn't called when we create the client. It's called on every request. So on every request, it will check like, what is the access token I should use? If this configuration is not here, then it will use whatever token has been set on the client. But if we have this function, it will actually go through this function every time there's a Supabase request. So what we're doing here, this is a little bit of an edge case. So when you're redirected back to the app, the Outseta access token is accessible as a search param, and all of the other times it's accessible through the window out to our through our Outseta SDK. So window Outseta get access token. And then we need to exchange the token and then return the Supabase token, or we return the token that Supabase gave us here. So that's why I guess I kept that in. So we'll like fall back to whatever that is, the default token that it was having. And then our exchange token, we made a simple cache here. And then if there's no Outseta token, we clear the cache so that there's no longer any, tokens laying around. And then if there is cache for that specific Outseta access token, then we return the exchanged token, the Supabase token. And if not, we'll do the actual exchange. So here we're calling that Supabase function that we just deployed. And that's why we wanted to call it exchange, because if you call it something else, you need to change this path, this endpoint here. And then you can have a look at the code. So that's basically what we're doing. So our code was failing in production on login. So let's log in.
Yes. Well, you have a user already.
Yes, because it's connected to the existing one. So it was working here now and in our local one. So I'm guessing we're just missing a secret in production. So I'll have a debug on that later. But there you go. I've been talking through all of it. So I'm hopefully it will be a little bit quicker to set it up if you're setting this up from scratch, or if you're forking the starter and doing this yourself. But to get us a little bit started, to make this more of our app, I want to change this one. It's not going to be a starter in the one. I want to change this title here, and I want to change this text, and then I want to change our seeds, because I have some what's it called? I have some suggestions of text stacks that I want to do that could just be part of the seed, and then you guys could add text stacks that you would like to see. So we're going to recreate this full app in all kinds of text stacks. So when this gets deployed, you want to go and do vote and suggest your own text stacks. So let's start by heading over to we should use AI. Let's try to use AI.
I never use AI, by the way, because I'm
so what I'm doing, I took a photo of this, and then I upload the photo, screenshots.
What photo are you uploading?
A photo of this page. I just took a screenshot of the existing page, and then I say I'd like to change the top right title to feed back Fort Tech Stacks. I mean, this would be a simple thing for us to do, but let's just see what it does.
Generating. So the reason I don't use AI is that I need to practice the simple stuff so that I can get it into my fingertips.
Okay, so we can accept. Oh, look at that. Feedback for text stacks. And then we kind of want to remove this thing, below here, the Outseta React Supabase. So we could also say, let's remove the subtitle.
That's general, though. Maybe he will do something else. Is it a he or a she, this AI thing?
It's a they. Look at that. It actually did it, but now we have no padding. Wow. So
why do you take the padding?
Add padding to the sides. It doesn't really matter if
you almost wrote Paddington. Padding.
Well, no. It did it to the whole. Yeah, so we don't want to do that. So I'm going to restore checkpoint so that we skip this part, and then I'll head on over
now?
to.
Did you go back now? Okay.
And then I head on over here, and I want the I want it on the feedback. Well, let's search for it. I don't even know where it is anymore. Feedback Fort tech stack. So, okay. So here it add, and I want to add the padding on this one. So let's do 4.
Yeah. No. Oops. What?
I mean, this is our button. So I'm using under the hood, I'm using Daisy UI. So we have a button large, button ghost, it's flex. Well, we don't need the flex anymore because we only have that one thing. So margin right, auto, PX. So let's just skip all of this because we don't need that anymore when we don't have the, oh, obviously we needed the margin right. So we can remove the flex. And why do we always get stuck on that tailwind? Always.
We love Tailwind.
Oh,
Don't
and then
be
I
like
had so I guess it's because I had the PX0. That makes sense.
Oh, did
There we
you?
go. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yes,
it
it's
wasn't
good.
PY because that's up and down. So now we have feedback for tech stack.
Yeah.
And then we'll make it because I don't have I don't know what to write here.
Oh, you're gonna
So
make the AI come up with
let's
something?
remove the hero section copy and replace it. Replace it with something that explains the current version of the app. It's a voting system for the next tech stacks. We should make the feedback for starter in.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what comes up with.
Will it put it straight into the code now, or will it?
So if
give
you
it-
have it on agent mode, it will put it straight into the code.
Ah,
If you have it on ask, it will
okay,
only kind of talk to you and not do stuff to your code.
I see. Agents.
But I kind of like agent mode. So let's see what it comes up with. Vote for the next feedback for tech stack. I mean,
That's
pretty
good.
good. Yeah.
But
This app lets you vote on which tech stack we should use to build the next version of the feedback Fort starter. Suggest your favorite stack or upvote existing ones.
yes, that's right. Spot on.
And then we're going to remove the hero buttons because we don't need those in this version. And then we want to create a new seeder.
Yeah.
And then I don't like this. So maybe we should do like what tech stack should we do next is probably
Yes.
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But see, this is what I like with the AI. It's that it kind of gives me, it gives me
Do you have that?
something, and then my brain
Do you
starts
have
work
that
like
white cup there that I gave you earlier with coffee?
yes.
It says, "Great idea, but no."
And that's what I love about AI. Its feelings does not get hurt when I tell it, gott förslag, men nej. Tech stack should we use next?
Yeah. Oh.
And then we can say we are on a mission to show Outseta used with all the stacks. Yeah. Suggest your favorite stack or upvote existing ones.
I think you should use tech stack in the second stack.
Okay. Your favorite tech stack?
Yeah. Why did you write baking just then?
I didn't. It wrote bacon. We are on the mission to showcase
Baking.
Outseta used all the stacks by rebuilding
Yeah.
feedback Fort.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think we're gonna do a link to my kind of main. I have a category. I cannot. Ooh, come on. look at that. It even like comes up with like hrefs and everything. But I want to use my feedback Fort category. So I'll use that as a link. I'll put the existing ones. So that is great. And then my absolute favorite AI tool, which is commit messages.
Ah.
Update app and neighbor, blah, 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 commit. And then we want to do the seed. So we want to change the seed.
Yeah.
To, or maybe no, I can just log in and like create my own, and then we can delete these. So,
but don't you
what
want
I'll
people
do?
to create their own
Yeah,
text?
but I can add some, and then people can vote on them, or like come with their own. So if we go to the database, I'm just gonna do feedback. And I never know where table editor. We went through this earlier. So we'll delete these 5 rows. Okay,
No.
well, we'll delete the votes first then. Okay, delete. You're very helpful, Supabase. Okay, delete 5 rows. And then if we, this is the wrong one. If we go back here, there's none. That looks a little bit stupid. So we're going to delete all of this seed because this project doesn't need a seed because this isn't the starter. This is the actual app.
Yeah.
But then I can log in. I've already logged in. Well, maybe I should log in as a different account. So I think I have a queen.
You can log in as me.
Queen at Ray Codes. Oh, I forgot to show that. Let's sign up. Oh, that didn't work. So let's not sign up.
I like that sign up thing there. Yeah.
Okay. So sign up. We have our local here where we have a pre-selected plan. So I think something is off with our pre-select. Oh, our pre-selected plan is our newsletter ID. I said I would show you a trick with Outseta. And so we haven't explained Outseta in the stream because it kind of is a given that you're already using it if you're doing these stacks. But Outseta is the company that I work for. We're a membership operating system. We give you all kinds of things: billing, authentication, email, newsletter, blah 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 blah, support tickets, all kinds of stuff. I could show our regular. So Outseta. So if we do sign up, like this is more how it would typically look when you kind of sign up. There's like a lot of stuff. But if we head on over to our nav bar here, in our button, so the way we make it an Outseta button, it's very unreacty because Outseta was made in the era before React also, but it's also made to work with all kinds of systems. So for instance, Webflow, Squarespace, those kinds of things. So instead of, we don't have a React SDK, but you could use data attributes to make any HTML element into an Outseta, pop-up. You can also make them embedded on the page, but I really like the pop-ups. So we're saying that sign up should be, again, anonymous. Here we've actually spelled it all out. So it's a data anonymous. It should only be shown when a user is logged out. And it's a data OAuth 1, which means that it's an authorization pop-up. And it's in the mode pop-up, and it's in widget mode register, which is for register. And if you look at the login, it's login. And then we can say data plan UID, pre-selected plan UID, and then data skip plan options. So this is the key. If you use the data skip plan options, you just skip all of the selecting, and you just get that email field instead. So let's grab our
the reason it
billing.
didn't work was that you need to put something else in the end.
Yes. So this is the UID for our plan. So for the feedback for it, we only have one plan. I just called it feed default. Nobody's going to see it, and it's free. So we're not going to be asking for credit card. If you, for some reason, want to ask for a credit card, even if it's free, you can say, payment information, require payment information. Oh, I can't do it if it's free. But if it's like, if you have offer free trial, and then you
No.
say that it's like
Oh
50,
yeah. Ooh.
then you can require it. Anyway, so, but I only have that one. So let's head on back to our Locafly. So now we should be able to sign in
All
or sign
right.
up. There we
No.
go.
Yes.
The
There you go.
queen at Ray Codes. Close. And then I will get an email that asks me to
Yeah.
verify and set a password. So I'll do that in
Right.
an, I'll show you it, but I'll do it partly in a different window. So you don't, see all of my email. Copy link address.
I can say who called me.
And there you go, set password. The easiest password in the world. I'm going to change it after the stream.
We didn't see it.
And then we're redirected back to the app, and you didn't see it, but for a split second there, the access token was in the URL. But I've set Outseta to where's my public? Here it is. Where's my index? I mean, there. Main? No. Where's the in? There it is. Index. So this is the Outseta configuration. So it grabs everything from the environment variables. And then I say clear query string true. So it removes it from the URL, which is kind of nice when you have a single page application. But then we can add. So let's do, for instance, one I want to
Wait, where
do
did you click
is
to do that?
do what?
You clicked something. You were very quick. Can you go
Inside
back
of
and click
here
it again?
or inside of
Yeah,
here?
to submit your feedback.
It's down here. Scroll down.
You
And then
just
we
scroll down
do,
and it's down there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do Outseta plus React plus Airtable I want to do.
Ooh.
So showcase how to fetch data from Airtable in a Netlify function. Authorized with the Outseta JOT.
Yeah. Yes.
Look at that.
There it
And
is.
then
You
and
voted.
then so as soon as you submit it, you vote on your own thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you
And
can't
this
vote
is where
again.
no, if I click that again, I remove the vote.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
and
That's
that's what our
Yeah.
nice view here actually does, is that it's like, have I voted? User vote ID, who was that? Like, I'm not logged in now, so you can't see these values. But if we head on over to our migration files, active, we're actually grabbing the idea of the user who voted, and that's the way I can see if if I'm the logged in person have voted for this, and that's what's giving that little like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not logged in this window, I'm logged in here, like that little activated bubble around it. But then I also want to do, maybe I should just skip Outseta because we know that we're going to do Outseta. So React plus Netlify functions plus Airtable. And then I would like to do Webflow plus Weist plus Supabase.
Yeah.
Oh, I have my detail is required. Let's skip that. It doesn't need to be required. Is it required in the yes, it's set to not null. I don't want to have. So what I want to do, I want to do this again next Monday. What I want to do next Monday is that it's like you select the different technologies and the combos you want, and then we're going to add comments so people can comment on them. So let's just like description. Well, I'll show you some YOLO coding. This is what I like. Okay. Feedback. And then I think we can just go to description, edit column, And then allow null. Look at that. Save.
Ooh,
And
that wasn't so
then
bad.
we'll head on over to our add feedback form and we'll just remove required because I just used like a regular old HTML element.
Yeah. All right. That wasn't too bad.
So we didn't go through a lot of the code, like the code of the app, but you can go and like look at the code. And then I want to extend the functionality next week to make it more what we need for this feedback for tech stack voting solution. So,
That's
then
right.
we'll do more coding. Okay, so let's do that and then submit. Oh my God, we could submit without a problem. And then, do you have any ones you want?
How about
I
that
am guessing.
make thing? The make.
Oh yeah, Make is more of an automation tool.
It is?
Yeah, but we could. Oh, we can verify JOTs in Make. So instead of
Oh, okay.
so for Supabase, we don't really need a server, but we could do Webflow plus Weist plus Make plus Airtable. Ooh, that's a combo.
That's right. Yeah, good. That's enough. We don't need any more of those.
No. And then let's do it again next Monday. This was fun, Nola.
Yes. I want to tell the story of who called me on the phone.
Yes.
So I got a phone here from one of the moms at circus practice because they meet up before circus practice. So one of the girls asks her mom, and then they meet up with the pirate princess, but they don't know her as the pirate princess. They know her as potato chips. So so she was like,
because our daughter showed up to circus the first day, and when they asked like, "What's your name?" she was like, "Potato chips." So even the instructor emails me, and he's like, "Tell potato chip, this is like the new
yeah,
like routine that she needs to practice before the
yeah,
big show in 2 weeks." So that's kind of
yeah.
funny. Okay,
So
go on.
the mom was like, "Hello, yeah, we're here now. We're here now. We can't find potato chips. I mean, what's her name again?" Yeah, and then she called me up, and she had a very important request, and it was, "Can I buy ice cream?" And he's like, "Why does she ask it? It's not Saturday." But she was like, "It's 50% here at the kiosk, you know." Yeah. So, and they called at the same time. So then I had to hang up the mom, take but I didn't know. So the mom told me where they were, but they were obviously moving to some other place. And she didn't, I didn't get to ask her. And then I talked to her and I was like, "Where are you?" "I'm at the kiosk here. Can I buy ice cream?" And I was like, "No, you have to find the others." "Okay. But can I buy ice cream?" And I was like, "No." And then I said where they were. And then she said, "Okay, bye." And I was like, "Oh, they're moving away." But then I had to call the mom. But there was something wrong with my phone. So her number didn't show up there. So I had to find it and call her up. And then the potato chip, she was like, "Oh, potato chip is over there." So she found them. Yeah. Yeah.
Ola, could you go in and grab the prosecco for me so I can have a sip while you do the outro afterwards?
Is it in the fridge then, you think?
It's in the fridge, and I needed. I'll bring it to the dugnad. So after this, we're going to in the neighborhood. We have a neighborhood house, and as we were talking about, it's our national day on Saturday. We have a big neighborhood party, and um, and then we have the dugnad today. So dugnad is a word that supposedly only exists in Norwegian, but it's a word specifying that a community comes together to do work, like unpaid work together. So you have Dugnads in apartment buildings, you have Dugnad at school, you have Dugnad in your neighborhood group, like we're doing today, and it's usually a lot of socializing and not as much work. Um, but it's a good way to build community. So that's what we're doing after today. I just did while I was talking. I just added a text balance, which is my favorite CSS.
So which one do you want? Do you want the Alk Aeolic or do you want the Lube Anzi?
I want this one.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I'll be right back.
Without text balance, you get, the unbalanced header, and with text balance, you get the balanced header. Okay. Listen to this. Okay. Well, we're not advertising for this at all. But the skull. And then later today at 7 p.m. my time, I have the Outseta meeting. So different vibes between me and the other members of Outseta. Like it's 7 o'clock at night my time, and they're like early morning US West Coast time. So I sometimes feel like I'm very like unfocused and like in like chatty evening mode, while they're very much in like let's begin our day and let's get going mode. So maybe we should just write FF tech stacks. Like that's a better navbar. FF tech stacks. Look at that. I hope FF doesn't FF Urban Dictionary. Urban Dictionary.
yeah. Urban Dictionary. I never use that. Maybe I should.
FF. Fruity Fly, aka Fag High. What would a gay man be without his fabulous FF? That's fine. We can live with that. Okay. FF tech stack.
Yeah. It's been another treasure hunt in the sharky waters of the World Wide Web with Queen Ray. Welcome back next week at the same time at the same place,
where we'll be doing some React coding to customize our FF Tech Stack website and hopefully deploy it.
Comments.
And comments. And add comments. With avatars. Oh my god, that's too much. Bye.
Ahoy!